Hello. Video request. Do you think there's a danger in having too much info? If theoretically in the future you personally were able to disprove God's existence through science, would you release this info to the public or hold it to yourself? Is it better for the public to hold? Is it better for public to hold onto hope even if it's based upon a lie? Also, through mapping the genome, would you want to grow up knowing the precise date you would die or what diseases you will have? Plus, if you could predict the future events, wars, end of humanity, etc., would you want that info or would you prefer the unknown? Thanks. Do I think there is a... That's another good video request, by the way, Joseph. Do you think there is a danger in having too much info? No. Not if it is given to the right people. I mean, if you give too much info to the wrong people, they can use that info to control people and take their powers away from them and everything. Kind of like the NSA, If you get somebody in charge of like the government who has special access to the NSA, they can use that info to target people they don't like and paint them, take their identity theft, take their money from them, do propaganda campaigns against them as long as there's like a populace that's stupid enough to follow those propaganda lies. But generally, if everybody gets the info, no. The more info people get, the better. It's called intelligence. The more intelligent we are, the better off we are. And that's pretty much black and white the way I see it. Straight down the board. If theoretically in the future you personally were able to disprove God's existence through science, would you release this info to the public or hold it to yourself? I would release all info to the public no matter what it was. I don't think you could ever disprove God's existence. I think you could prove God's existence, and I think, I think I could do it right now. I'm not going to, but there's plenty of evidence for that, and all the things having to do with, life on the other side, like reincarnation, people remembering their past lives and knowing stuff that there's no way they couldn't have known otherwise and stuff like that. But if I found out, some kind of scientific proof that that the world was a way that I was grown up to not believe, then yeah, I would mold it and I would change my beliefs because I have an open mind. But so yeah, the more information, the better. Is it better for the public to hold on to hope even if it's based upon a lie? Well, it's always good to hold on to hope, but I can't come up with an example in my head where holding on to hope would be based upon a lie. I can give plenty of examples of making you not hope being based on a lie, believing in eternal hellfire and stuff, that's a lie, and that will make you not hope. People believing in God, that gives you hope, but I don't think it's a lie. I think it's true, so I don't have any way to... But no, I mean, if I had to choose hope or lie, I would go with truth. It's better to not have hope and have truth. But having truth will then lead you back around to having hope. So you'd get the hope back pretty soon anyways. So, yeah. Also, through mapping the genome, would you want to grow up knowing the precise date you would die and what disease you will have? Hell yeah, I would. That's kind of like Angelina Jolie. She found out she had an 80% chance of developing breast cancer, and her mom died of breast cancer at like 54. And so that's why she had her boobs chopped off and got new boobs glued on. Yeah, dude, and I wish everybody could know the exact date that they would die, because then they could prevent it and they could live forever. Now, I'll expand the question a little bit more, and I'd say if I could know the exact date that I would die, like in an accident or something. It's kind of like those Greek legends, like Oedipus. They were predicted. The guy was predicted to his son, predicted to kill him and have sex with his wife, his own mother, and so they let the kid on the side of the hill to die, but he ended up getting found by a shepherd and then raised, and it's happened anyways, you know. And you have plenty of stories like that where somebody makes a prediction and so they do everything to avoid it, and then like Rapunzel. There's a legend of this girl who some wise person said his daughter would die before she turned 18, so she put her up in this huge tower and so they brought food to her so she wouldn't die before the age of 18. And like the day before her 18th birthday, a poisonous spider was like hiding under the bowl of her food, and it bit her and she died anyway. So if but I don't believe that's superstition. I don't believe in that stuff. So, you know, if I knew the date that I would die from an accident, I would want to know that too, because then I could avoid it, and then I would live forever. It would make it so that you could live forever. So, that's my answer to that. Plus, if you could predict future events, wars of humanity, etc., would you want that info, or would you prefer the unknown? I would want the info, man. More info, the better. More intelligence, the better. Because then you could avoid it. You could use it to avoid it. You know, you could predict a war. Then you take steps to avoid it. You know, end of humanity. You take steps to avoid it. Yeah. So moral of the story: more information, the better, man. The more we know, the better off we are, and the more the more information that we hide from ourselves and other people, the more problems it causes. All the religious wars we've had from people trying to assert their rights to be able to read the Bible or make their own judgment of the Bible, print the Bible, all this kind of stuff. It's just people fighting for their freedoms and their rights, and it all and when it comes down to it, has to do with information, being able people having the right for everybody to have the information and not just a small group of people, so that they can use that to control everybody else. That's the biggest number one negative thing about religion and Christianity, is people trying to make it all oligarchical. So yes, more information the better. Bring it on. When people say TMI, oh no, TMI, too much information, it's because they have a lot of insecurities, a lot of biases, and it breaks them out of their mold, their tiny little world too much, and it makes them uncomfortable. But the more that they try to open their mind and be able to hear somebody out and hear somebody's idea and then and kind of let that weird uncomfortable feeling that they get from knowing too much information, like if TMI, a lot of it has to do with like sexually related stuff, like, in fact, somebody asked me a question the other day, like, yeah, did you sleep in your van in the summertime in Texas? And I was like, yeah, I slept in my van. I just opened up the doors and I slept in the nude. He's like, ooh, TMI. It's like, that was his problem, not mine. I was just trying to share, I was giving advice on how you're going to sleep in 120 degree weather through the night. You take your clothes off and you open up your door. Let the breeze come in. So yeah, dude, TMI is something that people need to work with in their own selves, to try to absorb information and not get freaked out, Kind of reminds me, I was listening to Terrence McKenna a couple of weeks ago when somebody asked me to do a video about Hermeticism, and he was talking about how he was eating like psychedelics with Indians in the Amazon, and they would eat these psychedelics, and then all of these like little demons would come, and like our idea of like, if you do a psychedelic and all these demons come at you, this fundamentalist Christians, they think it's all evil. Everything out there is evil, and you have to protect yourself against the devil. The devil's going to take 90% of everybody and make them burn in hell for all of eternity. So they want to make drugs illegal because then all the demons come. So like here, if you're tripping balls, if you're like salvia and all these little spirits come at you, you like have to fight them off. You have to fight the nature and conquer the nature. But he was saying with those Indians, they would do the whatever drug, and all these little spirits would come at him, and want to fuck with him, and they would just allow them in, and then they would try to capture them. They'd allow them in, and then seal them in, and so that they would just view all these little spirits and stuff coming at them as being like things that would make them more powerful. Yeah, because Terence McKenna was saying that whoever captured the most of these things was the most powerful spirit, and it's or the most powerful shaman. And so, yeah, so if you see of everything out there as not being, and information and stuff as not being something that's going to defeat you, like the barbarians coming into Europe and killing everybody, but something that's going to make your world bigger and make you more well-rounded person and more, more powerful, you capture all of those little informations and, little nuggets of truth and little things, and you just take them in and you absorb them. And if they make you, uncomfortable, then that's just, it's kind of like, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Kind of like, your ego. Our ego is what keeps us from expressing ourselves on YouTube and being real and all this kind of stuff, because we're so guarded, because we look at every other people as being the enemy. And so, so like, if you express yourself in a certain way, like really informally or something on YouTube, and you use slang or whatever, then that'll make people, and then people make fun of you and they call you a DBF, a douchebag faggot, and all this kind of stuff. And then that makes you like really like paranoid and upset and like, oh, everybody hates me, and it hurts your feelings. Well, that's your ego getting all hurt. So then you just focus on that, and then you focus on the light and the positivity of all the world, and then that comes in and overrides it. So you have basically captured all of these people negative energy, and you've turned it into something positive. And so now your ego is more durable, and if you do that over and over and over again, and people always insult you and hate you for these like just their own bullshit reasons, that eventually it's not going to bother you at all, which is going to make you a really powerful person. It's going to make you like, you're going to be completely unaffected by anything ego related. You'll say whatever, and it won't. You can do it all from the bottom of your heart, and you can do it all for the purposes of helping mankind. And people could see it for you being like doing it for like selfish reasons or whatever. But just even if the whole world thinks that you're doing it for selfish reasons, if you think that you're not, and you have strong enough of conviction and strong enough of like self-worth and because you've just strengthened, you've made your ego that expansive, and just seeing yourself as being, everybody being the same, and you're just, you're just another person doing your best, then you're basically impervious and invincible, and you're a powerful shaman. And so, that's why people should just, if you're going to dance around in your underwear like on YouTube and you're going to upset somebody, it's not your fault. It's their fault for getting offended, And that even goes for other stuff, like victimless crimes. People are always trying to bust people for victimless crimes. If there's no victim, it's not a crime. Anyway, so I'm going to get my mom's calling me. Check out.